Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews from a regular dude, where I do trailer reactions, I react to YouTube videos, I review YouTube channels, occasionally I'll review a movie, but really, I just do whatever the hell I want. Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews from a regular dude down in the basement. Okay, we don't have one that's really creepy today, but it's from Most Amazing Top 10. And this is called Top 10 Strange Experimental Communes That Are Too Good to Be True. Let's check this out. Communes, cults, different things like that, they interest me.
Imagine living in a town with no government, no laws, no money, and no fighting. Just peace and harmony. How would you feel? Well, turns out there are towns like this that actually exist. However, as great as they seem, some have a secret dark side. So let's talk about these and more only in today's video.
Starting off this countdown,
we have Oroville, otherwise known as the City of Dawn. Oroville was meant to be a town where men and women from all over the world could come to live in
seeing this
peace
one
and
before.
harmony. It was supposed to promote human unity. This town had no money, government, religion, you name it. So it seems like a dream place to live, right? No fighting, not having to worry about money. Well, after a while, the town had problems with theft and harassment. People were taking advantage of other people, some were even murdering others. Cause hey, no laws means killing is legal, right?
Yep.
Not really. So yeah, let's just say it didn't go according to plan. Looks like humans are incapable of living in peace. In our 9th spot, we have Ordos, China. Ordos was once a very popular city with a population of 100,000 people. But nowadays, the city is a complete ghost town. So basically, in the early 2000s, the Chinese government invested billions of dollars to construct this community. But since it took so much to build the city, that meant that the property values were very high. So not a lot of people wanted to move in. This is one of the things that contributed to its downfall. In fact, this is said to be the most famous ghost city in China and the world's largest ghost town. The city was built for 300,000 people, but only 70,000 ended up moving to live there. Then, after running out of funding, construction of the city just stopped. So nowadays, there's just tons of unfinished and empty apartments and no one no longer lives there. In our 8th spot,
wow, what a waste. Can you imagine spending all that money and no one lives there? What a waste.
we have Freetown, Christiania. Located in its own neighborhood in Copenhagen, this town was founded in 1971 by Jacob Ludvigsen. Jacob was a strong believer of the free love movement, so he wanted to build a society from scratch that would focus on free love and that would help with the psychological and physical health of its residents. But soon after, drugs became a huge problem in the town. People were selling and buying hardcore drugs there. Then as drug use increased, the amount of crime increased too. Surprisingly, the town is still around today though. It thrives off of tourism and by hosting local events. Coming in at number
probably a lot of psychedelics there.
7, we have Benito, Brazil. In 1929, this town was founded after a group of Finnish settlers moved from Finland to Brazil. With the help of a pastor, they created this town. Apparently, the pastor was convinced that God wanted him to start a Finnish utopia in the tropics. Kind of specific, but okay. So that's what they did. But they also had a strict set of rules. People that lived there couldn't drink, they couldn't smoke, they had to be vegan, plus they had to work every day but didn't receive pay. Surprisingly, this town ran until 1942. Then people were like, okay, we can't run a town without money. So they decided to let tourists come into the town. But as soon as tourism took over, the town began to fall apart. In our 6th spot, we have ArcoSanti. ArcoSanti is an experimental town built in 1970 in the desert close to Phoenix. It was built by a man named Paolo Soleri, an architect. This town was created to see if it was possible for humans to live in harmony with the environment and, not kill it like we currently are.
They already said no because people can't really live in harmony.
So for example, the buildings were solar powered for heating and cooling and electricity. Paulo's goal for this community was also to teach people how to build houses like these so that they could live a more eco-friendly life. But after his passing, Paulo's daughter came forward saying that he was a very bad man. When she was younger, he would take advantage of her and do really sick things to her. When word got out, people were disgusted and some even left the town. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Findhorn.
He's dead though, so I don't know.
Eco community. This is a community that was founded on the principles of sustainability and renewable energy. Located in Scotland, the concept for this community was come up with in the 1960s, but it wasn't until 1982 that they had it all in motion. To this day, this community is known to have the smallest environmental footprint of any town in the modern world. For example, some houses were literally built from recycled materials like whiskey barrels, and they use algae, snails, and plants to purify their drinking supply. Seems pretty great, right? Well, yeah, until just recently when a resident was fed up and set a fire in the community. The fire ended up causing 400,000 pounds of damage to the area. So let's just say that was a pretty big scandal for them. Oh. Moving on to number 4, we have the Federation of Damanhur. The Federation of Damanhur is a utopian commune located in Italy. It was created in the 70s by a man named Oberto and some of his followers. It started off small, but now there are at least 800 people living there, which is a pretty impressive number. The community considered themselves the collective dream. They focused on artistic expression and optimism and meditation. But apparently it's a very culty place to live. If you want to join the community, you need to give up your name and be assigned another
No,
one.
thanks.
You also need to give up your identity and find a new personality. You need
No,
to abandon
thanks.
your family and not have contact with them, and you need to have total obedience to the community's leaders. Plus,
Definitely
you're not
no
allowed
thanks.
to stand up to the leaders or criticize them. Doesn't seem like a great place to live after all, does it? In our 3rd spot, we have The Farm.
Wouldn't work for me.
The Farm commune in Tennessee was formed during the hippie movement when people were like, nah, screw this, let's just make our own community. It was formed by Stephen Gaskin, a creative writing teacher from San Francisco. He's known for gathering a bunch of people and leading them to the farm. It's a 1,000-acre piece of land from a former cattle ranch. Before he knew it, he had over 1,000 people living there. But in order to get in, you have to take a vow of poverty and you had to promise not to smoke, drink, or consume any animal products. On top of that, they live pretty environmentally friendly, getting their power through solar panels and such. But soon the community turned pretty culty. It then faced a number of problems that drove out some members. Like they were bad with money management, and the leaders had a bad ego, and some say it felt like living in a bubble. Moving on to number 2, we have the Oneeda Colony. This community started in 1842 in New York by John Humphrey. He was a practitioner of perfectionism, which basically surrounds the concept that Jesus had already returned and it was up to us to create a paradise on earth. So the community started as a small group of 80 people, but quickly it doubled in size. By 1880, there were 350 people living there. All members would live in a huge mansion and would work together. Now here's all the controversial aspects of this community. For starters, members were regularly brought in front of judges who would list all their flaws and then they were expected to fix them. Then you have the fact that you weren't allowed to be in a single relationship while being there. Instead, all members were married to each other and they would often just swap partners. Now why was this a thing?
Cool.
Well, John the leader wanted his members to breed to create a super race. In the end, John was arrested for taking advantage of some of the members, and without him leading the community, it fell apart. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Pullman, Illinois. This was a town created by George Pullman. In 1880, he purchased thousands of acres of land and was like, let's build a community for workers. So he built a miniature town and built a factory in the town. He thought this would entice the workers, like, hey, work for me and you have a nice town that you can live in.
Right.
And for the first few years, this town was very successful. And it won a bunch of awards for being the best place to live. But eventually, the sinister intentions of George were revealed. This dude banned a lot of things in this town, and he was like a dictator. On a regular, he had people inspect the workers' homes to make sure they were clean and undamaged. In 1894, he lowered the workers' wages, and they got violent. They started a huge strike that had to be broke up by the American military. After that, the government banned this town. They're like, it's very un-American. Literally, that's a quote from them. Alright guys, that's all for today's video. If you had to live in
I like this channel, and I like her. She's one of the best ones that they have on this channel. I remember seeing a video. There's a town, I think it's in Alaska or somewhere like that, where it's just basically a huge apartment building, but they have like a movie theater inside there. They have restaurants. They have all kinds of stuff in there. Grocery stores, everything. You never leave there because it's too damn cold outside to go anywhere anyway. But that's the whole town. It's just this big, huge apartment complex. I think I'd go kind of stir crazy being locked in all the time. Don't you? It's crazy to me. I don't know. How about a joke? Why was the movie theater owner's wife mad at him? Because he had projectile dysfunction. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hashtag Mean Gene, all that fun stuff. And if you like this video, tell all your friends, leave a comment down below. And if you didn't like it, then just shut up. And I will see you next time.